Wonder how you can go out to help without some form of religious worldview. I heard a quote once that basically goes like this: without a God telling me to help others, it becomes my choice to do so. And when I choose to help, it means a lot more than being told to. Part of it is having the self awareness to know that I'm not perfect, and that allows me to see flaws in others as well. In a way, I feel like that self awareness generates a sympathy for others. That analytical nature allows one to see the pain that others feel. To not try to do what one can at that point would require a callousness that most simply don't possess. One of the main ideas that I need to keep in mind as I act is the audience. Whether you write a story, give a presentation, offer a solution, you always need to keep your audience in mind because the same solution does not work for everyone. This comes into play more from my service learning, but this is always something that I try to keep in mind. And I feel like my understanding of the phrase increased. Sometimes your intended audience is not the audience you actually reach out to, and so your solution fails or you realize the faults of it. As far as my understanding of it, service learning is about trying to make a positive impact in the community. But there's more to it than just that. Service learning is about building the mindset of a servant, wanting to actively help others. So, service learning should be a result of your worldview. Throughout my research, I found a recurring problem in many not knowing enough about homelessness. They become callous towards the issue, resulting in various agencies hurting those they should be helping. So I thought that I could try to spread awareness, and through awareness engender sympathy towards those less fortunate. When it comes to an actual goal for myself, I'd hope to get a better grasp of my resources. It's understandably easy to learn about federal policies. It's easy to find landmark Supreme Court cases. But I had never before tried to find out about local policies and how the local courts have ruled. That information is obviously less impactful and scarce, making it that much harder to find. But it's for that very reason that I wanted a greater understanding. Not everything will be in the open just waiting for me to find it. For my actual project, my thought process was that people need to know more about the issue. During my research, I found that people often react very negatively towards the homeless. I identified a possible source of this as people lacking information about homelessness. After all, people often do not take kindly to the unknown. On top of that, if the people trying to serve are ignorant, then how much could they really help? If anything, an ignorant response can make the issue much worse. So my plan was to compile information that I could then give to my group, who could then better serve the community and in turn make others more aware. Due to the very nature of my work, I did not join with any community groups. Instead, I worked under Mr. Reagan. I did not have any set times, just working on the project whenever I could. I specifically collected research on local government policies, history of local homelessness, how the courts have responded, and just basic information on the various community groups that try to serve the homeless. My hope was that I could then distribute this information during Minimester. On February 13th, our group, traveling to Belle Glade, partnered with the Homeless Coalition and Care Bag to distribute items to the homeless, including toiletries and other clothes. I did not interact with the site server supervisor at all, as various problems resulted in our group not helping or even working. I had not finished my paper yet anyway and was unable to give it to anyone. We had planned to serve more in March, helping the Homeless Coalition and searching for the homeless, but I was unable to participate in those. In the end, I worked on that paper, leaned back, and thought, what am I doing right now? What did I truly hope to accomplish with this project? That was the question burning in my mind. The truth is that when the idea first came to my mind, I was thinking about how the people in power react to homelessness. That maybe if the people who could change everything were more knowledgeable, they can then do something. What is the point in telling someone experiencing homelessness that, say, 34% of the county is homeless? It would change nothing and make them look at you in a bad light. If I truly wanted awareness, I could have organized some event or something. there are no measurable results for this anyway. I realized then that my idea was dead before I could ever try it out. By then, I realized that there was not enough time to try anything different either. Then I got terribly sick and made no impact with service anyway. I knew I failed.
I got sick almost immediately after the break started. Whether it was from the coronavirus or the flu, I have no idea. I didn't get tested. Either way, there was no way I could go on Minimaster. Thankfully, I'd logged some hours in beforehand, but that day wasn't particularly productive. I made my own rendition of it to show you because I didn't take any video that day. So, I spent my life, past few hours, not sure how much more I can take. I've been sitting here so long. I don't know. I can't do it. We ended up helping a couple people that day. Certainly not as many as we hoped or expected, though it was nice to help a couple people, give them some stuff that they need, even if it wasn't a lot. There were just a lot of complications that day that made stuff not work out. Though it seems like everybody else had a good time without me on Minimaster. We'd planned on one day basically going around looking for the homeless in order to give them some food, supplies, that sort of thing. Now, in other days, we would have worked with the Homeless Coalition to prepare packages that we would give to the homeless. Sadly, I wasn't there. I wanted to be there. I'm gonna pretend I was there either way. I would like to thank Mr. Reagan and Arthur for providing me all the photos of what happened those days. So, take a look. I feel as though I should comment more on the day I actually did volunteer. We were supposed to work with Care Bag, which is basically this lady, and she has a portable shower that she lets the homeless come in, take a shower, wash up, that sort of thing. Afterwards, they get a bag of toiletries and some clothes. Now, our purpose there was to set some stuff, help set some stuff up. We set up the table, filled up the bags, helped set up the showers, all that stuff. But two problems came in. One, the facility we're at was not capable of handling the showers. What they do is they take a hose or whatever and they pump the showers. The water wasn't working though. And the second problem was there just weren't enough people. A couple of people came by and we ended up giving them some clothes, but there was supposed to be a bus coming filled with the homeless people, run by the police station of the area we were at. And while we were waiting for them to come there, we kind of relaxed, sat around just waiting, did some work while we could. Eventually, though, we found out the bus was canceled because they deemed it too dangerous. So at that point, we kind of just packed up and left.
Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And boy, did it all go wrong. I can't honestly say that it was all failure though, since I did slightly grow along the way. Academically, I feel like I got a better sense of time management. After all those legal documents are extremely time consuming. One has to properly pace themselves in order to fully understand it. Alongside that, I feel like I can use my resources better, but not great, not bad either. Personally, I can describe it as having a thicker skin. I set broad goals for myself, and for the first time in a long time, I almost completely failed at them. That's both humbling and strengthening as I try to define both myself and homelessness. Growth is about writing your own definition, after all, deciding who you really want to be. You know, my dad once told me this story of a small business owner. Essentially, this man and his family owned a restaurant. They were successful and even owned a couple more stores. One day, fancy car pulls into the parking lot. The car door opened, revealing a man dressed in a full suit, fancy wristwatch and everything. The man walks in and wants to talk to the owner, saying that he has an offer for the owner that he can't refuse. The owner, of course, comes out to speak with the man. The man says that he's very impressed with their stores. They have a, a lot of customers, its business is booming, and the food is just great. So impressed that he wants to spread them throughout the country. The owner glances around at his small, home like establishment that he's spent years at. And in response to that offer, the owner asks how they would guarantee quality of the food. Disappointed, the the businessman gets up and walks away. When I first heard this story, I thought the owner was a fool for turning it down, and I kind of still do. It's your job to guarantee quality, after all, but I also understand his perspective a bit more. It's more about finding satisfaction in what you have and making a choice about how you move forward. Thank you for listening to my failed story. I am now ready to answer all and any questions.